division that should do this, a mines inspectorate division, but they are not being funded. You'll be surprised that maybe...
Let me just put this to you. You are the one that talked about, Ken, I'll come back to you. You talked about the states can do this. But Donwell says, we cannot continue to blame the states when there is an existing and exclusive law banning them from mining solid minerals. So how can that, you said joint ventures bring in the investors, are they allowed to do that by that law?
Look, there are states that are doing it already. And
by that law?
Yes,
they're not breaching the law.
They're not breaching the law in any way. There are states that have companies. And I want to recommend that the states should look at that.
Okay. Now,
for example, not even just laws, they have commissions. You can set up minerals, what do you call commissions. And you can use it to bring in investors who will create employment, who will increase the revenue of your state. There are creative ways, even if the law is an impediment. Like I said, I want it removed. No, I also support that. But in the interim, are we going to wait until maybe the next 4 or 5 years before this legislation is done? There are creative ways to do that and to get the same results without breaching the law.
If we look at what is going on in Zamfara, where you see people, young boys, going to mine, and in the process, you know, they get into lead poisoning issues. That means indeed people recognize that there are so much, you know, when you look downwards, you find so much wealth. Why is it that the state's governments are not looking towards this area? Why?
No, but you see, it's not that the state's governments are not looking towards this area. It's because they have been docile to a large extent. Apart from the law, they have been quite docile. I said it from the beginning. The truth about it is, when you actually go into this joint venture partnership, which I agree with the professor here, you actually would have circumvented that law that stops you from mining. Now, when you go into that joint partnership, you're able to create employment. You're able to now know that you, apart from creating employment, you're not able to harness those resources. Well, could they not? The resources will definitely not maybe come back. Maybe someday they'll make a legislation so that will make it possible for you to get derivation benefit from the areas where these products are. But the truth about it is that the states have to be awakened to the reality of it. I think what has happened in the oil sector is a rude awakening now, and we must accept. They have to be opened to the reality of the fact that they have to create the Ministry of Mines, even in the states. It's not even only about commission. In the states where you would have found out that you have these in huge commercial quantities, you must create that ministry. I give you the example of Ekiti State. I didn't even know Ekiti State until I read about it. Had so much potentials. Even in Delta, you can't believe we have lead zinc in Nasaba. We have silica sand. There's so many things. But apart from that, let's also look at agriculture. Clays. Yes, clays, which is used for tires, rubber, ceramics. And we know how, and even this clay stone, these burnt bricks. As a developer, I know how much I pay for burnt bricks. Most of my clients will always come and say, this is what they want. Do you understand? The burnt bricks, it has been a technology that is even older than my father. Do you understand? And today they still use burnt bricks. You have the version of burnt bricks even here in Channels. And these are the things that produce them. And we import those products, this clay, which we have a lot of it in Delta, in huge commercial quantity. So it's quite unfortunate that we have found ourselves up to this point. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel is for there to have not only a rude awakening, but a meeting of like minds and professionals. I mean, I'm not an expert in this view. I will only talk about it as an analyst. I'll give it to him. He's the expert in this view. I mean, you could hear all his analysis. Bring people like Professor into your state as a consultant, and I mean, the rest will be history. I'm able to. Thank
you for helping me to look for it. Let me just say this. You see, he's mentioned some very important points, but you see, there is a way out. I want to say this. Look, you talked about the Zamfara issues and all that. Look, this is a knowledge-based industry, and you can't do anything about knowledge unless you have it. You need to involve the experts, like you said. You'll be surprised Nigeria has enough expertise for this. Well, sorry, I preside over the Nigerian Minor Geoscience Society. On a register alone, you have well over 10,000 geoscientists. Each year, Nigeria produces over 1,200 geoscientists in about 34 institutions. And many of these geologists are either in the Ministry of Establishments or teaching or riding Okada. So we are wasting. Or they're in the banks. Thank you. So we can harness this, strengthen the institutions to provide credible data that the investors can run with. The Nigerian Geological Survey Agency is there. The Steel Raw Materials Exploration Agency is there. Metallurgical Development Centers, they are virtually crying.
So that means we have the professionals.
They have the professionals in abundance. You have institutions already there, but strengthen them.
Okay, Prof. I was going to look at the issue of the environment.
Yeah.
Now, you were a commissioner in Desopadec.
Yes.
One of the issues in the Niger Delta has to do with the degradation of the environment.
Yes,
now, that's one concern. If we're now talking about leave the oil and go into solid minerals, that means some will say that means, okay, oil has degraded the environment. Let's look for other means of degrading the rest of the environment. And so let's go to solid minerals. How can this be worked out in such a way that the environment
is protected?
I'm not done. He's talked about geoscientists and geologists. They are geomorphologists. They are climatologists.
It's a multidisciplinary thing.
A multidisciplinary thing. And all of these guys come up from the different universities.
Yes.
Practically every university in Nigeria has a geography department, has a geology department, and some separate them.
Yes.
So how do we get all of this together in order to move away from oil and
You see, the easiest thing for you to do is to carry out an EIA, an environmental impact assessment. When you carry out a comprehensive report of what the environmental impact assessment would be in terms of the mining that is going to go on in this area, you will know exactly what harm will be done to the environment by going into mining of this particular product in this area. And once that EIA is done, it settles it. Then you can now guide against such harm, because those are the things, most places that they went to drill oil in the Niger Delta, they didn't carry out EIA reports. And that's why you can see that today fishes are dying in the river, people are dying, people are inhaling, fled gas and all of that, and the water is being polluted. Yes.
Now, they've not even started mining the solid minerals. We have issues of erosion. And you know that, especially in the southeast and southern part of Nigeria, they are
prone to erosion.
And all of that. So
just quickly, you see, like I said, there are institutions for this. If you remember where we're coming from, Enugu had coal. The environment was not devastated. Jos mined, in fact, we were the largest producers of columbite for the whole world, in the whole world. And tin.
So what happened to that?
I'm coming. Just,
do we still have columbite?
We still have columbite.
In large quantities?
We still have it in large quantities. Even not just on the plateau, now many places. Now, we have a tin. It was not devastated. Why? Because there was proper monitoring. We even had what we call the mines police. The mines inspectorate division was very strong. Like I said, these institutions are there. They are old. Strengthen them. They've been trained. Employ more people. If you're scared of employing more people because of your, what do you call it now? Overhead or something, get some consultants to work with them. Look, the Zamfara one and the Niger one is just a sad case of breakdown of institutional monitoring. I'll tell you, some of these offices are so far away from the mining field, no problem about that, but give them the vehicles even, give them the logistics. They will be there, that's what they are paid for, but all these things are lacking. If that can be, there is an environmental compliance part in the ministry, all these people, strengthen them and strengthen institutions, and you won't see what you have in the oil industry and the solid mineral sector.
Okay, I think we have to wind up now, and yes, mining is another, opportunity or area that Nigeria can explore. But there are other things, service, service industry, and all of that. So the idea is to look just a little away from oil.
I mean, like I was saying, agriculture, for example, that's very key. In Delta, we produce cocoa, we produce rubber. These are all very high commercial quantities.
So for everyone, especially those in government and individuals too.
Very key.
They can, look into other areas.
I mean, that was why, if I may comment, that was why my former governor would always appreciate his vision, Dr. Emmanuel Udouin, of the Delta Beyond Oil. He saw through that. He saw a day like this coming. And this is exactly what we should tell ourselves now. It should be Nigeria Beyond Oil.
Exactly.
We should start that campaign, Nigeria Beyond Oil. And we'll be able to move on.
Thank you so much for coming on this morning. We've been speaking with the President, Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, and also of the Department of Geology, University of Ibadan, Professor Benga Okunola, and the former Commissioner Desopadec, and also analyst,
Yeah.
Mr. Ken Okonobo. Thank
Thank
you.
you.